So today I'm bringing you the last video I think for 2021, and I'm gonna be going over things that have been happening recently and as well as some upcoming plans and builds that are in the motion right now actually. And some things I talk about in this video are gonna be really good, while others just straight up suck. So I'm gonna be going into that right now. So the first thing on the agenda is, for whatever reason, my phone just, it's either my phone or my laptop, I can't tell which one it is, but something was messed up recently on one of the devices, or maybe it was both, again I don't really know, where it won't let me transfer any files to my laptop anymore. So if you don't know, this whole time I've been using my phone to record everything, take pictures, voice recording even, and what I would do is transfer those files to my laptop where I edit them and then upload them to YouTube. And recently that hasn't been possible because whenever I open any folder actually from my phone, such as a DCIM folder, and then it goes to the camera folder, it just shows up as empty for whatever reason. And that's really frustrating because I can't use any video clips, screenshots for the most part, anything like that, and it just really sucks because that's basically my entire content. And I've tried every possible solution that I could think of or that I looked up online, and nothing just seems to be working, and I'm not sure why. So about 2 nights ago I went at it for about an hour and a half trying to fix it, but nothing came up and it just did not work. So unfortunately for the time being, it looks like this is going to be the way I'm making videos, which is just voice recordings, screenshots, and just whatever I can find on my laptop where I can just upload it directly to the editing software. So that's gonna how you're gonna see the videos for a while. But there is a good news to this part, which is I actually got a mirrorless camera. So I got a Sony A6100 recently, and for Christmas actually, which is just my Christmas present, or a Christmas present, and my birthday present kind of mixed into one, since my birthday is kind of close to Christmas. So my parents just thought it'd be a good idea to give me one big thing, and this was that big thing. So I'm still toying around with it, trying to get all the settings dialed in and stuff, because I've never had a camera like this before. But considering the phone issue just popped up around the same time, I think I'm going to start filming videos with the Sony camera instead, which is a good thing since I really want to get some practice with it before spring, and I'll tell you why sometime down the road. But probably for the first few videos with it, it's not gonna be very good, just because it's gonna be kind of a learning curve. But hopefully down the line, a few videos in, it should be better. But yeah, probably in the new year, that's what I'm going to be using to film if this phone issue doesn't get solved. So there's that. But depending on who you ask, it might be bumping quality, or I'm pretty sure it's just going to be equal. One downside is I don't have a macro lens for it, which is fine for now. I'm thinking maybe I can use the Orphic lens to some degree on it, which would be interesting to see if that works. But yeah, that's a new camera added to the lineup, which is going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to get better at using it. So the next problem here is that unfortunately Washington, or most of the Pacific Northwest, so this is Oregon and some degree of California, like the upper half of California, got quite a bit of snow, and Washington actually got the most of it, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon, because ever since it started snowing around the afternoon on Christmas, it just has been consistently snowing about, I think, every single day at this rate. So, and most of the time it does stick. Like we recently just got, I think, 4 or so inches of snow, and if I get this video out tonight, which is Tuesday night or early in the Wednesday morning, so like 1 or 2 a.m. on Wednesday, Thursday we're supposedly getting another 4 inches of snow, and next week when I get off of winter break and go back to school, we're supposedly getting even more snow. So that's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out. So what that basically means is that deliveries are gonna take quite a while, and that's unfortunate because I actually have the jellyfish ordered from the jellyfish warehouse. I made up my mind on which species I want to get, which species I want to keep, and which species I think I can provide the needs for. So that's going to be really exciting to see. And there's also, I'll talk about this in the next section of this video, but there is a fish I saw in Divers Den recently. I haven't checked Divers Den that often because I just wasn't in the saltwater fish at the time, or more so because I was going the direction of captive bred with biota gobies. But there is a super awesome nanofish I saw in Divers Den recently, and I'm making a species-specific tank for it, which I'll talk about a bit in the next section. But depending on how much snow we're going to get and if it sticks, which I think it's already a guaranteed 4 inches on Thursday, and it seems like it is going to stick because it's been super duper cold here, and it just means that, well, the main roads like the highways and the freeways and things like that are pretty well melted, as in the plows and the salt and stuff has been pretty efficient at that. It's just the neighborhood roads that a lot of people have been saying are pretty bad, and including mine as well, since my neighborhood has quite a lot of hills and bumps. It's not really the best situation for delivery trucks. So due to the weather, basically deliveries are going to be delayed a lot. My jellyfish are delayed, so we're not going to get those probably until next year. And the fish I saw in Divers Den probably won't be ordered until next year either, which kind of sucks because it may get sold during that time. But what my hope is that it's been on Divers Den for a while, I believe. No one's really seen interest in it, because if you look up the scientific name for it, there is literally zero information on that fish besides a couple scientific things like its appearance, where it comes from, which is the Caribbean, how it feeds, and that's basically about it. There's nothing on captive care. But from what I saw on the Live Aquaria page, it seems that it's relatively easy. I tried to email them about it, but because of snow, of course, it's been pretty slow and I haven't gotten a response back yet, which is really understandable. And yeah, that's basically an update about the weather and the climate that's been happening here. And the next section is going to be about a few upcoming builds that I have to start off the new year. So the first upcoming build I already mentioned is the jellyfish tank. I got 3 jellyfish, and they are a photosynthetic species. So in theory, they're going to be a little bit more harder to maintain in the fact that you need to provide them a light period, a photo period, but hardiness wise they're pretty hardy, and appearance wise is what made me settle on them, because they're just extremely beautiful, and I think they're one of the most beautiful jellies you can keep out there in the home aquarium. And that's really all the info I have on it now. Just waiting for kind of the snow to go away and for those to get shipped. And the next tank is going to be a 10-gallon, really minimalistic scape, kind of sandy, rocky, species-specific tank. And I've talked about it with Blaine and Calvin, Blaine from King Tide Corals and Calvin from CD Scapes on Instagram. And this is essentially a nano ambush predator, and it only gets about 2.5 inches. It's actually pretty colorful for being an ambush predator, and it likes to bury itself in the sand for I think about half the time that you'll see it. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience, especially because, there's like zero information on captive care, and I think overall it's going to be a pretty cool build to see. And yeah, we'll kind of see where it goes with that fish. That's probably going to be the only fish in the tank, just because I'm not sure how big their mouth is, and how big of prey they can actually swallow. So things that could go in a 10-gallon, like Eviota or Trima species of gobies, clown gobies, even some species of cardinal fish and maybe firefish might get eaten as well. So I'll have to see about potential tank mates, but again, I'm not really sure as of right now. And unfortunately, because of this phone issue, I probably should have put this at the beginning, but I'm really behind on videos. I'm like at least 3 videos behind on topics that I was supposed to upload about a month and a half ago. So If you follow me on Instagram, you already know what fish I got. Last month during Black Friday, I went down to Portland and of course visited the White Spot. And for the 60U Blackwater tank, I got 4 Par Autosynclus Heraldai, or the Galaxy Autosynclus, which is basically what I would consider to be the holy grail of Autosynclus just because of how rare it is. And I got a trio of Parosperminus Gunnawani, or I think the common name is the blue line licorice scrami, and it's been, I think, a little over a month since having them, and all of them are alive and they're actually doing really well. The Galaxy Autos have been eating a lot of biofilm and algae. I do supplement them with algae wafers and stuff, but I think they usually get full from the biofilm and the algae that grows on the wood and the leaves and stuff like that. And the licorice scramis, I think the male I have and one of the females have been getting really close to possibly pairing off, because they've been spending a lot of time together, and the male has actually been hanging around in and outside of the coconut hut as him kind of claiming that territory, because they usually hang out in the middle of the tank near the Bantague root. And from my research, it seems that licorice scramis usually spawn in kind of tight spaces where they build bubble nests. So things like bamboo tubes I've seen people use, or those stackable shrimp caves or flower pots. So it seems like they kind of build their own caves in those where they build bubble nests. So I'm hoping that this is a sign that they might be using the coconut hut soon to spawn, which will be really interesting. And I posted these guys a lot on my Instagram, so you can go, I'll put it on the screen and leave it in the description below as well. And today, actually the 29th, I went down to Portland again because the road conditions were good enough to go down, and I went to the White Spot again, and I just posted these guys on my Instagram like half an hour ago, but I got 6 Lake Tanganyika killies. And if you are a long time viewer of the channel, which I'm going to be surprised if there's actually people that have sticked around for this long, you know I kept these guys one time before. That time it was pretty bad. I ended up getting the only 4 out of the 6 I ordered because of inventory issues, which, you know, that's understandable. But one of them ended up dying off for no apparent reason. I think it had some spinal issues from the way it was swimming. And then the 3 left I had was down to 2 males and 1 female. And you probably already know how that ended off. So I ended up losing those 3 as well. And overall, if you look at that video, they weren't in the proper setup with these shell dwellers as well. There was no kind of rocky area for them to kind of spawn and hang out a bit in. The water hardness was not up to par with how it should have been, which includes these shell dwellers, which in the old tank the shell dwellers in, they did extremely well for being in really soft water, but in that tank they just didn't do that well. So this time I have a group of 6, which is the ideal number you want to keep them in, and I'm going to be quarantining them this time for just any possible disease or infection and stuff like that to make sure that they are healthy. And then after they're done with the quarantine, they're going to go in the 55-gallon new Lake Tanganyika tank that's going to have one side dedicated to shell dwellers and another side dedicated as a rocky area. So it's going to be rocks for them to spawn in. It's going to be pretty planted with tall plants and lots of swimming space. And I think most importantly, it's going to be hard water. We're going to put a lot of crushed coral in there to help raise the pH and the hardness. So hopefully, in theory, this tank goes really well. And that's about all I have for this video. There might be one more video coming out really soon at the end of the year, but for now, this seems like the last video at the end of the year. So I'm super thankful for everyone I've met this year, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or even in real life. Yeah, I've made a lot of connections with people, and it's always fun just exploring the hobby, and that is something I really want to do more in 2022, is focusing on the niche aspects of the hobby, like certain unknown fish that not a lot of people know about, like the nano ambush predator I'm going to get, because it seems like the perfect centerpiece fish for a species only nano tank, but there's just no information about it. So that's something I'm going to be focusing on, and just continuing to grow as an aquarium hobbyist, because I think this year I had a big leap in growth as in my understanding for the hobby, and what kind of direction I want to go towards in the hobby, has kind of been finalized, and I really want to grow more in 2022. And I'll probably make a short video on what I want to do next year, but that's kind of just a small part of it. And with that being it, my name is Northwest Fish Keeping, and Happy New Year, and hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Signing out.